Hi, Jeff. Sherry, how are you? Yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hi, Jeff. Mr. Phillips.
Hi, Mr. Phillips. How are you?
Nice to see you. I've been spending the last few days with your folks.
Great.
Talking about a lot of different things.
Hey, you're lucky you came up on a day when there's no snow. It was snowing like crazy all weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How are things going here for you?
Slow and steady. Nothing out of the ordinary, really.
You've read the book?
Yes. Yes, I read the book. My dad sent it to me about last week, and spent all night reading it. I was up all night reading it. It was quite a surprise to me, some parts of it. Very interesting.
In what sense?
Just some of the things that were revealed caught me off guard, and just some very big surprises in it for me.
What was it that caught you off guard?
Some of his insights into what he thought of me as I was growing up.
All right, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, this is an interesting one because we get to see some baseline for a serial killer, a guy who his acts were beyond even the craziest serial killers we found. He kept body parts, all kinds of things he'll talk about through here. But it's a good baseline, very Midwestern, very Milwaukee, slow pauses as he thinks what he's going to say. Makes small talk. You're having small talk about the snow with a serial killer. Interesting. We haven't seen that before. Usually the guys want to tell you how grand they are in some way or another. He doesn't. He does a whole lot of down left and down right eye accessing. And when you're ready to get someone to confess, you see a lot of that. It's internal. What does that mean? Internal. What does that mean? I also run into that a lot in corporate America. And the people who do that, I typically find to be kinesthetic learners and people who feel when they're making a decision, feelings are tied up tightly in it. So it's an interesting thing to pay attention to. I've worked with vice presidents of companies who do this a lot, never make eye contact except for to make their point. And it's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's just how their brain works. We do see some concern in his face right in here. I spent all night reading it, and that gives him an area to focus on. That would give me an area to focus on conversation. What about that? What about that caused you concern? Let's talk about it. The when he says there is a little bit longer than in the beginning. And he does a lip retraction when he said some parts were quite surprising. Raised forehead, an internal thought when he was like, well, as his face goes, well, that's probably about as close as you get to a wow from a guy who is a Midwestern, very contained guy. I see a rub between him and his father. It's rigid and wooden. Now, given that culture plays a part in that, but I think we'll see a lot more of this as things go. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, really interesting. Like the interviewer on this, because he takes him through the conversational levels really, really fast. It's almost like a fast induction going into self-assessment. So let me just explain what he's doing there. Nice to see you. That's just phatic communication. Nice to see you. And the other person is meant to say, yeah, great to see you. And there is that kind of exchange. Like you said, Greg, into the weather. Great phatic means customary, great customary communication. So they're now talking about the weather. You might go, okay, well, this is really going nowhere, but it starts to escalate pretty quickly. How are things going? Again, this is phatic, this is customary, slow and steady. It's a non-answer, but it's the answer that you should give. You shouldn't be giving too much information at this point. Right, now we're into data. Did you read the book? Yes. It's a yes or no answer. Okay, so that's great. Gives a yes answer. But then he's straight into evaluation and emotion. Quite a surprise. Okay, so emotion is the surprise piece. Quite a surprise. He's evaluated it on a scale. Well, this is really good because we've got him from, hey, it's snowing out, how are you doing? It's snowing outside, slow and steady, to, actually, I've just been quite surprised back there. Okay, so this is really interesting. Now, self-reflection, it caught me off guard. So that's really interesting because the interviewer then comes in on that, as he should, and goes, what is it exactly that caught you off guard about this? And we get a revelation that there might be some accuracy to this book because he says the insights, what he thought of me as a child. So I'm going to speculate that there's something in this book that I understand his father has written, which Dahmer believes is actually insightful. He thinks it could be very, very accurate and accurate about his childhood. So great start here because we're into the potentially, and of course, he could be making stuff up. He could be a complete liar. He could be duping everybody. I get that, but that escalated pretty quickly, and I'm going to say it's absolutely accurate that there is some stuff in that book that is true about how Dahmer sees his childhood. Chase, what do you think?
I agree. And since you're watching this right now, you have met a psychopath before. There's no doubt about it. And in all likelihood, you were in zero danger. So as we say the term psychopath, there's a distinction that I'd like to make at the outset of this. There's a difference between violent psychopath and just a psychopath. And these people do not choose to be this way 99% of the time. So you probably also enjoyed that conversation when you met the psychopath too. I had never seen this video before, and you see this head tilt on this entrance. I was walking almost robotically. And I didn't know who this guy was that he was walking towards. I thought that's probably his dad or something, because this, you can see the social behavior familiarity in the head tilt before they get close to each other. This is preparation for a hug, where Dahmer knows which side his head's going to go during the embrace. The lack of arm movement, he's got this rigid body language, and this is not a psychopath indicator, but it does show here from just the outset, the person is more likely to be uncomfortable, trying to control or relax themselves. And this bodily control that's exerted here is unconscious. And the rigidity comes from the desire to just exert some kind of control. So he's kind of running human OS. He's running the human operating system right now. So right there on his forehead, when we are expressive a lot, and we express ourselves often, they kind of etch themselves onto our face. My forehead's got little wrinkles on it, but you can't see on Zoom. But there's a lack of conversational interaction and response here. His forehead is baby smooth right here, which means he's spent a lifetime not performing an eyebrow flash, which we commonly do when we greet people. These are social skills. So just looking at the lack of wrinkles on the face can give us some indicator of who we might be speaking with in this situation. Scott, what do you got?
I agree with you, especially on the part about the eyebrows. Quite often, someone on the autistic scale won't use those a whole lot. That's something I noticed a while back. So we're dealing with an interesting. I don't go into the whole personality stuff. I don't do that, but it's definitely an interesting personality type we're dealing with here. And when he first comes in, he says, "Hello, Mr. Phillips," like he's buddies with him or something, or being really respectful. And he seems like this meek and mild kind of guy. And then we see lip compression when he's asked about the book. And he says, "Oh, it's quite a surprise to me, parts of it." So that was kind of interesting, that sort of containing himself from maybe not anger, but just containing any emotions he may throw out there at that point. And I think that probably indicates he probably wasn't pleased with what he read in there for some parts of it. I'm sure some parts of it he liked. But what I thought was interesting, he didn't go into talking about himself and the book and sort of making, the grandiose thing you would do if a book was about you, if you're a psychopath. So I thought that was really interesting as well. There are a couple of other things, but nothing big. His breath and blink rate seem fairly normal. His vocal cadence and tone are fairly straight, like there's not a lot going on. And he seems and looks like a nice, quiet little person there. Somebody who's very calm and you wouldn't have much trouble out of at this point. So that's what I got. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Jeff. Sherry, how are you? Yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hi, Jeff. This is Phillips.
Hi, Mr. Phillips. How are you?
Nice to see you. I've been spending the last few days with your folks.
Great.
Talking about a lot of different things.
Hey, you're lucky you came up on a day when there's no snow. It was snowing like crazy all weekend.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How are things going here for you?
Slow and steady. Nothing out of the ordinary, really.
You've read the book?
Yes, I read the book. My dad sent it to me about last week, and spent all night reading it. Was up all night reading it. It was quite a surprise to me, some parts of it. Very interesting.
In what sense?
Just some of the things that were revealed caught me off guard, and just some very big surprises in it for me.
What was it that caught you off guard?
Some of his insights into what he thought of me as I was growing up.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.